Okay, this is going to be a video of how to spot a fake MCM, or let's call it MCM inspired backpack. You know how they use that word, inspired? Okay. Well, you know what? The most obvious thing is the MCMs. All right, if you look at them, it always starts off in the center with the MCM on top, right? And then the one to the left is on top. And then you got two that it's on bottom. On this side, two on bottom, one on top. Okay, that's how it goes. But you know what? The fakers can copy that pretty quickly. So let's just look at the next step that you want to look. This is an important one. Now, I'm just going to zoom up on this a little bit. Now, if you look at this little, the leaves, the one on the left, when it's upside down, this one, there's 9. Count those. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. On this side, there's 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. A lot of fakes miss that. They'll put 8 and 8 or 9 and 9. But you want to see 8 on one side, 9 on the other. Okay, so keep that in mind. Another important factor, it's a 4-digit serial number. Now, you could have a letter in front of it or a letter in back of it. It's always a 4-digit serial number. Now, notice the screw. It's also going to say this Munchen thing right over here. That's the last name of the MCM. But anyway, now, if you look at the screw heads, they're regular, okay? Flathead screw, not Phillips, not a rivet. If it's a rivet or a Phillips, guarantee a fake. This screw, if you turn it, it will actually unscrew that plate. If you turn the other ones, the fake ones, they'll just spin forever. They do nothing because it's kind of like a fake rivet. Notice how the screws point to each other. That one is in line with that one. That one's in line with that one, like an X. Okay, you see the X shape. Okay, so look for that. One of the most important things, well, this is pretty obvious. Now, let's zoom up on this. Now, you see how nicely that's stitching this new piece of fabric, how they line that up perfectly? You want to see that. You also want to see some double stitching. This one has double stitching. And on the side zippers, you got single stitching. On the main zipper, you have double stitching on the main zipper. Okay, see the double stitching? And this is tight. You really can't lift this thing up. It's tight. You can't lift that little flap. Now, another main thing, when you look at the side of the bag, okay, you're going to notice this thing is on a skew. It's not perfectly straight, the zipper itself. You want to see that. It's very thin toward the front. You want to see that. Look for the nice stitching. This bag is a little out of shape because it was in a box with other bags on top of it and books on top of it. And the person swore it was real. You know what? She had a lot of fake ones, but I pulled this one out because it was real. I knew what it was. She had the tag on all of them. You know what? I can go to Macy's or Sears, wherever you go, and I could rip a tag off and walk home and put it on my fake bag, and it's going to look good. No, it's not that. Now, they also talk about, you want to see the back of this. Now, the newer bags have the curved straps on the backpack, curved straps. So it's going to make the design look out of shape. They don't follow it. They run a straight pattern when they cut it, and they cut it off of a straight pattern. They don't put it on a skew. So you're going to see this extra one in there, and that's exactly what you want to see. You want them to match. See how they match each other? If you look, they match each other. All right, now, the pattern matches. Okay, another important feature. Now, looking at the studs, this is supposed to be basically a backpack for a guy. Now, when you look at the studs, my doggy's coming in to say hello. He's just inspecting to make sure it's real. Yep, he gives it this doggy seal of approval. Now, if you look at the edges on this, you see how they catch the light? That's what you want to see. The edges are sharp, see? So it catches the light to give it a little kick to it. So that's what that's about. And so you want to see the nice, very defined edges. See how they're triangled off and they're very defined? That's what you want to see. Now, one of the most important things, YKK is the zipper company that supplies them with zippers. So let's look. Okay, now you see, if you look right here, I'll try to focus in better. Give me a second. You see that YKK? you want to see that. I'm not really focused very well. Maybe if I touch it with the other screen, it'll focus better. So you can see that YKK, oh, right there. See the YKK? That's what you want to see. Look for that YKK. Now, they also talk about some people. Let me try to shrink this back. I can't. Okay. Now, they also talk about, they say that, oh, the real one has a single stitch up the center of the strap. That is true on certain bags and on certain backpacks, but not this particular one. This is what it's supposed to look like. Now, another important feature, this piece of leather back here is not going to have the MCM logo on it. Oh, 90% of the fakes have it on there. They don't catch it, they don't realize, and they put that on there. They use this material, and it says MCM. So you want to see a plain piece of leather holding your backpack strap on. Now, the other thing is these buttons. You want to see the logo in those buttons. You see the logo in the buttons? You want to see that. See that logo right there? And you don't want it to look like some piece of crap. You want it to be well-defined and not something that's just kind of like mismatch in there. That's pretty well-defined. Okay, so you got a real bag here. And they feel solid. It doesn't feel... This one looks like it's spongy. It's not. It's solid. And it just looks out of shape because, like I said, they had books on it and stuff. But it's a strong bag. So, just to recap, remember, you want to see the one in the center with the MCM on top. MCM on top. The first one to the left, MCM on top, then 2 down. On the other side, you got 2 down and 1 up. Okay, so remember that. Always that way. And also, look how they match that stitching, how the MCM goes right in. Remember the YKK on the zippers. If you don't see a YKK, you got a problem. Remember the double stitching on the top zipper that goes around, not single stitching. Okay, remember the curvature on the back straps. Now, the older ones could have straight straps. It could. But if it's an older one with straight straps, you're kind of going to get a double line of these MCMs. It's going to look like this side by side almost. It'll be about that thick, but there's going to be stitching up the middle. It's hard to explain. But each strap is going to look like 2 straps sewed together. It'll look like that, kind of. That's what it'll look like, and they'll be straight. Remember the piece of leather. No logo on it. Remember that. Remember that these corners are going to be shiny to catch the light. They're going to be flat and very distinct to catch the light. And what was the other thing I was telling you? Remember the angle of the zipper. So just keep these things in mind, and you'll be all right when you look at the bag. And use a little common sense. Use some common sense. Look at the bag. If you think it's looking flimsy, it might be. Now, I looked at some other videos on what people were writing, and they're telling you that you need a double stitch here, 2 stitches, and then an extra 3rd stitch here. Yeah, on some of the bags. Not this particular one. Not this particular one. But this is a real bag, and I'm very happy with the purchase of this bag. And I made another video, and I did not actually expose her because she did have some fake ones. And here is the logo. Remember the screws, too. So that should pretty much cover you. If you need to look at one of these things, do your homework. Pick up a good one. Don't get scammed. Like and subscribe.